Hi everyone, welcome to a new week. Thought I would share a video message this morning just to keep things a little bit personal in an online course. I hope now you've all had a chance to review and get yourself familiar with the course content. I hope that you have contributed to the Nice to Meet You Padlet, which is located in Module 1 in our Your First Tasks page. Getting to know you and just hearing a little bit about you and where you do your will position and what you are all about really helps me to connect with you, especially in an online environment, and helps me also to guide you as we take this course, which is really about you and your leadership style and what you want to get out of the industry. So if you haven't introduced yourself in the page that's called Your First Tasks in Module 1, I'd love if you can do that. Also, in Module 2, which you should be working your way through this week, we have a couple of Padlets that ask you to share your thoughts about some of the courses in your program. What your favorite course was and why, what you were challenged by the most, what you think the skills are that you'll take away from your program. Starting to think about these things will help you in upcoming assignments. And speaking of assignments, I would like to show you and just remind you about your first assignment, which is coming due towards the end of this week. I'm just going to go into the course here. So if we do look at Module 2, our Industry Exploration module, you'll see that there are just a few pages, so not a lot of work to do this week, just a few things to focus on. The first one being those Padlets that really ask you to reflect back on your experience over the past few semesters. And if you contributed earlier, thank you. And you also might note that I've made a lot of comments and responses to your comments. So if you do want to go back and check and rejoin the conversation, that would be great. You don't have to. And once you've done that, we have an introduction to your first assignment. So your first assignment is a discussion board, and I've grouped you into smaller groups of 10 or 12 just for discussion purposes, but this is an individual assignment with an individual grade. So you don't have to interact with your group members, you don't have to find them if they're missing, you just do your own thing. Following the instructions included here. So I'll talk more about this assignment in this week's drop-in session, which I'll talk more about in a minute, but I just wanted to show you where to go to get the instructions. And this is how you follow the instructions to complete the assessment. Now, to actually participate in the discussion board, you have to go back to the assessment hub. And in the assessment hub, you'll notice that this is where you'll actually find the discussion board to participate in. Each one of our assignments is outlined this way, where the instructions will be in the weekly module, and then to complete or submit the assignment, you go back to the assessment hub where you'll find the submission folder. But we'll go back here to our instructions page. There's one particular thing that I want to point out. And I've included this here for everybody. Before you submit your discussion post, you need to make sure that the links that you share work properly. This assignment asks you to think about a topic that you want to explore in greater detail and to share 3 links or resources to articles or videos that will help to educate you and your classmates and me about the topic. And I actually do go in and I watch the videos and I read the articles that you share. Therefore, the links have to work. Now, here's why I have to be a little bit strict about this. I have noticed that when students use artificial intelligence to generate a link, ChatGPT or whatever AI program you use might provide you with a link, but very often that link doesn't actually work. It either takes me to YouTube where there's no video to watch, or it might take me to a website where there's no article to read. And so what I have found is that in the past, when I have this situation, I spend hours and hours following up with students, telling them that their links don't work and to please submit the proper link. And I don't have time to do that. So I'm just going to throw it out here right now with fair warning. If you submit links that don't function properly, you're going to get 0 on that criteria in the assignment. And then the second criteria that relates to that asks you to share what you've learned from those links. Well, if those links aren't real and you're sharing what you've learned from them, then what you're sharing that you've learned is also not real. Therefore, you'll lose those points on the assignment as well. So if you get 0 on 2 of the criteria in the assignment, you are probably going to fail the assignment. So please make sure that your links function and take me to the appropriate page, video, or article that you're aiming to share so that I can grade you appropriately in the assignment. I will not contact you and ask you to resubmit links if they're broken or if they don't work. I don't have time to do that for every student in the class. So please pay attention to this and do heed my advice. Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, another thing or tip to make sure that you do well in this assignment is to make sure you're specific. If I ask you what you learned by reading this article and you say you learned the functions of a front desk agent, that's not specific. You probably already knew what a front desk agent did, and so I'm looking for new information, something interesting or new that you learned that you didn't know before. And if your article or your video doesn't teach you something so that you can answer that question accurately, then choose a different one. The whole point here is to look for, new learnings and find things that are going to teach you something. So if your responses to that question about what did this teach you, what did you learn, what's something you just learned from this resource, if your answers are general or not specific, again, I can't give you any points for that response. So please do take your time. Even if you do take your time, this assignment will not take you a long time to complete. It's not a long one or a tricky one, but you're not going to do well if you rely on AI to do it for you. So just a heads up there. Okay, final thing I want to mention is that this week is our first live class meeting. You don't have to attend this meeting, but I will be online this week at the time scheduled in the course to answer questions and give you a bit of a rundown on why we're doing this module and to share some information about it. This meeting will be recorded in case you're not able to attend, and I just want to point out that it will be hosted in Class, which is a new feature in Luminate that is located here on your right-hand menu under Details and Actions. So to access both the recordings and the live class meetings, you can just click here on Launch Class, and you'll see that our dates are scheduled for the first half of the semester. I hope you're doing well. I hope the start to your WIL semester is going well. One final thought, if you haven't had a chance to access the course, take a look around, familiarize yourself, start focusing on that industry exploration discussion board, I am going to be sending you an email this week. So if you haven't really engaged in the course yet, we're starting to get to the point where you really need to do that. So if you haven't had a chance, I'm going to send you a reminder email. Also just to make sure that you have access and that you can see everything that I'm talking about. So heads up on that. Don't ever hesitate to reach out if you have questions, if you have concerns, if something's unclear, or if I've maybe set something up in the course that's wrong and you're not seeing what I'm telling you should see. Just send me a quick message. I'll get back to you right away. And we want to make sure that you're all on the right track to be successful this semester. Hope you have a great week. I will see you again next week in my weekly greeting, or hopefully before that if you're able to attend our live class meeting later on in the week. Take care until then.